Hey guys, Corey again. I am today going over some research that we're doing, looking into what the kind of pain points are for our customer, and deciding whether or not we're gonna, make messaging around that, or just kind of crafting various messages around a pain point. So we're doing a couple of different avenues for figuring out what the pain points are. And one of them was we kind of got sidetracked a little bit, and you can see it's kind of a mix of things up here that we have that are both on target and kind of off target. So we ended up targeting more the employee. So this is an employee of a call center or of telemarketing or a cold calling operation. So then we're trying, making some messaging around kind of the opposites of that. So this is with respect to using Air.ai for cold calling versus having an agency that, or a call center or a contact center that has employees. So these are some of the comments from employees that we have dug up. So, just some of the things that are said. Getting back into the habit of prospecting is hard. I find ways to procrastinate and do other tasks that won't push the needle forward. I try to make the first call within 15 minutes of work. Otherwise, before you know it, it's 11:30, and you're worried that you'll disrupt the customer's lunch or some dumb excuse like that. Well, one of the things that these are all what we were calling call reluctance, and an AI caller never experiences call reluctance. Then these are things that humans have to overcome. And the question is, why do we even have these cold calling um, centers or jobs, and what is it that is really the goal here? The goal is to have a direct connection to people and call them with a human voice, and in our case, Air would be an artificial voice, but the actual, calling that person and talking to them and having direct contact and directly connecting with them and getting their attention is really the idea behind cold calling, and it's pretty effective. So it's worth trying to have these jobs in these call centers, these contact centers, and these roles. It's just the employees don't really tend to like it. There are some people, I have met people that love cold calling, but a lot of people are really have this call reluctance. They really have a hard time getting off the ground and getting out the, getting started on even day by day. So one of the reasons is I've, stated right here, I've pretty much become desensitized to negativity on the phone. And really, you pretty much have to have that. You have to have thick skin. You have to just like, um, and you just have to ignore the attitude, the angriness, the different things that occur. Sometimes some people just waste your time. Some people get mad. Some people really are interested in what you're talking about. So yeah, here's one. The secret to cold calling is 6 beers before you start. The worst part of cold calling happens uh, before you actually make any calls. So it's, the employee burnout is really high in this industry. So, we always look at Air from the perspective of the customer that would utilize Air, that would use the functions and the outbound calling or the customer service calling or whatever. But this is also, we kind of dug in here into what the employee is experiencing. So this guy really kind of sums it up pretty nicely here. This is the first job I've had where the main meat of the sandwich is basically what nobody wants to eat. It's effective, but it's archaic, taxing, and it should only be a temporary means. The insurance industry, they preach cold calls. The agents end up making 400 calls a day and spend hundreds of dollars a week on leads. I don't know how you can make 400 calls a day. I ran the numbers, and you are gonna it just 100 calls. You only get like 5 minutes per call. And so that means a whole bunch of them aren't being picked up, or they're shorter than 5 minutes. You're being told to bug off in the first couple of seconds. So last week I took off 3 days because I was sick, though I just didn't want to do it. So when it's time to pick up the phone, I get absolutely overcome with anxiety. These are things that we got off of, social media sites and things like that. And like I said, this is more the person making the calls, and it speaks to why the turnover is so heavy, and people have to be monitored, and they you know they just don't last very long, and it's got a lot of requirement for a high volume of calls. They get tracked for every break that they took, expected to do 120 170 calls. That is a lot. The working conditions are crammed in a small room, little space, and somebody's always sick. So yeah, it looks like starting is the hardest part. The excuses you make trying to get started or keeping from getting started. So, the AI doesn't experience call paralysis, doesn't experience call reluctance, does not react negatively or be taxed by a negative interaction. I know I've done some calls before, and you get done, it's like, yeah, I don't want to do that again. I do not want to experience that one more time. The secret to cold calling is 6 beers before you start. That's a great one. Anyway, I thought I'd just kind of walk through some of these that we found. You can see what some of the people do. Try to get going. The first thing in the morning is one of the biggest things. The inertia in the morning start. So let's see if I can find anything else. Oh yeah, it's extremely frustrating for clients when someone is calling with a heavy accent. Now that is actually a message that we could use with respect to the customer that we're looking for, which is the owner or the person that needs cold calls done isn't going to do them themselves, but they're going to hire somebody, or they're going to hire a team, or they're going to hire a contact center to do those calls. And a lot of times there's a heavy accent, on the phone. So that's one of the things that Air really gives is a lot of clarity. The language is clear. Another thing I've noticed with the Air agents is poorly enunciated, poorly communicated, or heavy, thick accents. It seems to be able to pick them up magically in the case where the humans don't. They're not able to pick it up as easily. So anyway, some of the advantages, some of the downsides with respect to the employee, the person, the telemarketer that's actually making the calls. Thought I'd go over this, a little bit of our research today, and thanks for watching.